Coach Boyle. Let's just open it right up for some questions.
Well, Joanne, how disappointing was that season-ending loss? And do you use that disappointment as an onus into the tournament?
Yeah, I think you have to. The kids definitely know what was at stake, and we came up short. And you have to kind of sit in that for a day and know what it feels like. But if you don't use it as motivation, then I think it's just a waste. So I think we had a day off on Monday, and I know the kids really struggled with it. And then we came in on yesterday, and just had a really good practice, short but really good, and just refocused on where we're headed and what we're trying to do.
I think over the years, too, going into this tournament, you weren't sure if you're going to get into the NCAA tournament. I think you feel that now. So does that change your mindset going into Pac-10?
It does, because the kids now know they're fighting for a seat. Before it was, are we going to get in? And now it's, we could be anywhere, a 2, a 3, a 4. So kind of where are we in that mix, and what's the extent of, the prep for this week, and playing 3 games in 3 days, and fresh legs and prep and all that kind of stuff. So they understand that it's a tough tournament, especially for a team that doesn't have a lot of subs, but we got to use, I think, like you said, this past weekend as motivation not to try and stumble and fall again.
How difficult is the 3 games in 3 days?
It's tough. I think the teams in the conference that have a short bench, really struggle. So I think your prep this week is important, just in terms of how much you do and film and tying all that stuff in. And but when you roll the ball out, everybody's just got to battle for it. So. We're not going to back down from anybody, I can tell you that. And it's just about, just being ready to play and having that mentality.
What's your opinion of the conference tournament? Could you do without it? Or?
I think it's a great thing to do. It's been in basketball for so long, and I think, you kind of look at it as 3 seasons. You have your regular season, you have your conference tournament, which is the season, then you have the NCAA, which is your postseason. So I think it's a really good thing to have.
Joanne, why is this weekend important for you guys?
I think to reestablish that we can contend for a title, whether that's regular season or Pac-10, and I think to prepare ourselves and to do the best we can to get the seed for the tournament.
Is there confidence, getting back some confidence playing in it?
Yeah, and again, as a coaching staff and I think as adults, we hold on to things a lot longer than kids hold on to. They're pretty resilient. And I know Sunday, Monday was tough on them, but Tuesday they came in and, they just talked about ownership and what they need to do as a team to get ready for this. And I told them about, teams at this point are being managed by their coaches, but their teams are owning it. Great teams own this part of the season. And I felt like practice was kind of that theme yesterday, and it was good.
Are you already thinking seeding and have asked for, what would your ideal scenario be for?
Win the tournament, get a 2 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough having that 2-week break, too, before the NCAA
and
tournament.
I think next year the tournament changes, where we're weak and we kind of are back into the flow of other conferences, because it's tough to sit for that long.
You could get your momentum going again through this Pac-10 tournament, and then you get a 2-week break, right?
Yeah.
How do you keep them going?
A lot is just, we've been in a situation for 2 years. I think what's hurt us is we've had to fly to the East Coast both years and play early games, and that's tough on a West Coast team. So, you give them a couple days and you just keep things fresh. It just doesn't get short practices, maybe tweaking things here and there, but keeping things short and fun for a while until it really, who you're playing, where you're playing. Because these next couple of days after the tournament, we have no idea where we're going, who we're playing. So it's got to be about just rest and working on our stuff.
Joanne, Lauren talked about the underdog role again. You guys kind of embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
And you use that this weekend and have them feel good about being in that spot where they seem to thrive a little bit?
Yeah, we do good when our backs are against the wall. I don't know why, but that seems to be kind of where we tend to thrive. So I think being the underdog, not coming off of last weekend, being the underdog, going back in and just saying, it's one game at a time, and have a little bit of chip on our shoulder and say, we're capable of this.
Did the Washington loss, do you see any relationship to the Stanford loss, when obviously after that game, that was a pretty crushing loss here at home, and tears and everything else? There was a lot invested in that. I know there was a game in between, but was there any hangover from?
Yeah, Washington's a tough trip. It took us 9 hours to get up there. Just with flight delays and everything else, and so you're on a bus, you're on 2 planes. So it wasn't even though we had our legs underneath us that first game. I felt like we had our legs back for the Washington game, but whether it's part of the emotional hangover, whether it's part of that, part of being a tough trip, short bench, all that kind of stuff. We can make excuses for ourselves, you know, but we just can't do it. We fell short. It's on us, and we have to regroup and focus for this weekend. We don't get it back. We're not getting it back.
Do you feel like the team is still trying to get used to maybe being in a position of, okay, we were the top team in this conference, and kind of what that feeling means, and how to sustain it, and play at that?
I don't think they looked at the big picture in those sense. It's just we fell short this weekend. We had a great year. It could have happened against Oregon State. It could have happened anywhere. It just happened to be the last game of the year where on their senior night they're playing their best basketball and we're on a tough road trip and come up short. So, we can overanalyze and all that kind of stuff. I just think, we came up short, and now it's about. I don't think they're feeling pressure of anything. It's just they don't operate like that.
We've talked over the course of maybe the second half of the season about you guys winning even when you haven't played well. Are those days over, though? Not being able to play well for stretches, you probably aren't going to be able to get away with that.
Well, it's going to hurt you. Whether you can still win or not, I think it depends on both you and the other team and what's happening. You don't want to put yourself in that situation, obviously. And I think in tournament play, you come down to like making baskets and all that, but it comes down to like the nitty-gritty, the hustle plays, the rebounding, the just the playing possessions and things like that. So, you can't lose sight of like it's just going to be a battle, and some games the basket's going to fall and sometimes it's not. You got to do all the other things, defense and rebounding, the little things to kind of get yourself through 3 games. So.
Any other questions for anyone? Great, Coach. If you could stick around if anyone just has a quick follow-up, and I know Anne.